Facing your inner struggles is often tougher than any external foe. It's about overcoming your own fears and limits. Unknown. Ever wonder how ego, thoughts, and emotions start popping up and why they're around? Well, it all begins in the mind. That sneaky force pulling the strings behind our thoughts, dreams, memories, and vibes. It's like the DJ spinning tunes, sometimes tripping us up, sometimes getting us in the groove. Like when emotions go wild, or when you're riding that life wave, or when a sudden urge hits. To build a resilient mind, we've got to figure out what chips away at it. We're already hip to fear, distractions, and stress being major culprits. But what's flying under the radar is an invisible villain, even more sinister and potent than you can imagine. Here, you won't hear the usual blah 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 you're used to. We wrote all of this from the heart, so let's get into it. Way back before the time of Christ, folks have been on the hunt for emotional balance and a deeper understanding of human consciousness. They've been exploring all angles: scientific, spiritual, religious, and philosophical. As they mulled things over, certain ideas started taking shape, leading to the emergence of the concept of ego. The ego holds significant sway over us in the farthest layers of our being, prompting shifts in our actions and leading to transformations within ourselves. In the perpetual interplay of light and shadow, it serves as the disruptor, upsetting the equilibrium in the eternal yin and yang game, where each facet mirrors and complements the other. Acknowledging this subtle influence in our everyday lives is vital for cultivating genuine mental fortitude. After reading some stuff from philosophers and psychoanalysts from centuries ago, we begin to see that most of them understood that the ego is a fundamental part of the psychic structure, which interacts indirectly with other forces of the psyche, like the superego and the unconscious. Does this cause that tense feeling we have at work or even in our personal life in certain situations? Steering away from this is our responsibility, and there's no escaping it. We're gonna make a video dedicated to this topic of the superego and slap it in the description of this video for you. But as you grapple with the pressure, you notice your thoughts torn between wanting to make a good impression and fearing messing up, disappointing others. That's when the ego steps in as a mediator between your desires, impulses, and the world around you. It's all about finding that delicate balance between your superego's demands, your personal life, and your own choices, you know. It's a constant juggle to meet both social and professional norms while also navigating your primal instincts, which might lean towards avoiding conflict or seeking instant gratification. You often feel torn between meeting others' expectations and maintaining a positive self-image. Through this lens, we perceive the world and mold our unique identity. Recognizing the ego's influence is the initial step in grasping our behavioral tendencies, right? But how do we tackle challenges more adeptly and kickstart the process of building a resilient mind? According to Friedrich Nietzsche, the ego is basically a social construct that clouds our true human essence. With all the pressure to fit in and live up to society's expectations, we end up crafting this sort of mask, a persona shaped by the ego that often disconnects us from our genuine selves, making us lose sight of who we truly are and what truly matters to us. Instead of embracing our authenticity, we get stuck in this endless loop of seeking validation in social circles, on social media, at work, from strangers on the street, or even when we gaze into the mirror. It's like we're caught in a cycle. When we embrace individuality, it's highly likely that we can achieve true freedom, and by doing so authentically, we gradually feel the ego ceasing to exist. Of course, it's not easy. Reaching this level requires transcending societal and modern world expectations. But reflecting on the norms that bind us to this is the beginning of seeking a life with deeper meanings for ourselves. Nietzsche and others were total game changers in the last couple of centuries, and that's why their research, books, and ideas still resonate with us today. The way they delved into the human psyche was mind-blowing, making us ponder how these concepts have way deeper roots than we might realize. Take, for instance, the ancient scriptures of Buddha from over 26 centuries ago, where he was already on a quest to transcend the ego and achieve enlightenment through meditation. And in other ancient cultures too, folks were pondering similar questions about the mind, spirit, and body. It's wild to think about, huh? Erich Neumann, a bigwig psychologist and psychoanalysis scholar, delved deep into the world of meditative practices in his book, The Origins and History of Consciousness. He highlighted how ancient traditions like Taoism, Zen Buddhism, and Hinduism have been onto this stuff for thousands of years. It's pretty mind-blowing to see how these topics have fascinated folks throughout human history. So, heads up. When we're in a spitfire mood, it's almost certain that our next actions won't be positive. Fear and frustration kick in. But it's precisely in those moments that you need to simulate calmness, forcing yourself to take things slowly, even if it's just on the computer. A hasty click can mess things up big time. Try to solve one problem at a time, even if it takes a while. Sure, it's practically impossible to stay calm in some situations. Taking things slowly is what will make the real difference. If you're running late on a delivery, had a fight with a loved one, lost a document, or feel overwhelmed with tasks and don't know where to start, first assess which is most critical. Force yourself to understand the situation calmly and without rush, because a little extra time won't change anything. I'll repeat, try to solve one thing at a time. There are plenty of analogies out there, and if you're as old as me, you probably remember the Greek mythology maze, the Labyrinth of Crete. The legend goes, once you stepped foot in it, you were pretty much stuck talk about a mind bender. And fun fact, Daedalus was the brain behind the operation, building the whole thing at King Minos' request to house the Minotaur. We use that story a lot to symbolize complexity, challenge, and self-discovery. In philosophy, it's all about life's journey, the quest for understanding and digging deep into our inner selves. So, when we liken the mind to a maze, it's like saying we're always trying to navigate the many twists and turns of our own psyche. It's pretty easy to say that we're living in a physical and mental maze nowadays, huh? Everyone's hustling in life, and with every step, we've got chances to grow and toughen up, to find those hidden paths and passages within ourselves. Each drop of sweat slowly shapes who we are, and every obstacle we face teaches us valuable lessons about the world around us. It gives us the strength to move forward with more confidence and resilience. These experiences slowly shape our personality, and little by little we develop our own unique traits. Most people never stop to think about who they really are. Our own ignorance of knowledge leads us to lose touch with the true essence of our existence and understanding of the world around us. This lack of understanding pushes us into a pursuit of happiness and fulfillment based solely on fleeting illusions, such as superficial pleasures, power, status, and material wealth. If we're keen on leveling up every day and growing, Hinduism offers a helping hand. It breaks down into two key aspects. First up, there's avidya, or pure ignorance, which clouds the illusions we see with our own eyes. The more we let this ignorance take hold, the stronger our ego gets, leading us to the second factor, ahankara. As our ego swells, we drift further from reality, trapped in a warped perception of the world, unable to see or accept certain truths. Ahankara is a pretty intricate function. It's the one behind crafting our sense of self. Without even realizing it, we start building up our ego as we journey through life, influenced by social circles and the world around us from the get-go. These interactions shape our sense of belonging and mold our personalities. As we get bogged down in trivial matters, things that won't really matter in the grand scheme of things and will likely fade from memory in no time. Our ego starts creeping out of the shadows of ignorance, gaining traction. It latches onto our bodies, minds, and the roles we play in society more and more. This attachment kicks off a cycle of materialism. Feelings like avoiding what we dislike, suffering, and getting frustrated at work are just a few examples of the fallout. They hold us back from finding true fulfillment and breaking free from the chains tying our unconscious to reality. The hurdles can feel never-ending on the long road to personal growth. It's like staring up at the vast night sky, feeling small in the face of the universe's cosmic enormity, unaware that we're all part of this grand tapestry, that we exist, and so do the galaxies. When this realization hits, changes start stirring within us. We start questioning, seeing through the illusion of the ego and the world around us. We begin to grasp the intangible barriers holding us back and take those initial steps toward true understanding and inner liberation. Over time, the ego evolves, forging new paths that transcend the constraints of ignorance, allowing us to live with greater authenticity and fulfillment. We seek to attain enlightenment through meditation. It is this powerful practice that makes the transformation process flow through the synapses of our desires. It helps us achieve inner peace and change our understanding not only of ourselves, but also of how we interact with the world. As we gain feelings of love, compassion, and respect for all creation, we make room for a more meaningful and harmonious life. Whether you're responsible for your family, your duties at work, or whether you're alone or have a pet, your actions and self-care resonate in your surroundings. As you begin to grasp this connection, you automatically develop a sense of unity and empathy. Gradually, we become more aware of the interdependence among all beings. By fretting less about the future and tuning into the present moment, we sync up with the flow of everyday life. We start to savor the journey in this world from a fresh angle, liberating ourselves from the mind's illusions, material attachments, and futile distractions. These concepts and practices don't just shape our individual selves, but also leave their mark on society as a whole throughout human history. You might notice the resemblance between the notion of perceptible phenomena and the perception of appearances or visible and sensory phenomena in both Hinduism and Stoicism. They both offer paths to transcend the illusions of the world we perceive and discover genuine peace and contentment through inner wisdom and embracing reality. We're but grains in the vast cosmic sands, woven from atoms and starlight. Consciousness is the canvas where ideas pirouette and thoughts echo like sunlight through perception's windows, illuminating our deepest depths. The mystical thread of existence binds ego and being, intertwining every thought, emotion, and experience. Consciousness breaks free from matter's confines, letting us dream the undreamable. We're divine sparks gazing into the cosmos, probing questions that tease the fabric of reality. Embrace moments of joy and happiness in life's ever-unfolding journey. You can start by making a list of the 10 things that hold your feet back from taking the next steps. Breathe and meditate on just one thing first. You can start with the easiest one. Do not focus on finding answers, but on reflecting. Study, read some books, watch some videos like this one on our channel every week. Seek reflections that will change the way you see the world. And before you know it, you will have changed your habits for the better. Don't worry about time. So, connect with yourself, do some exercises, and chill out and take a deep breath. Trust me, things will start falling into place. I hope our next content helps you even more. Stay safe, hit that subscribe button, don't forget to stay hydrated, and thank you for watching.